Welcome back to the Football Tragics. I'm your host, Aaron, joined here by Morty and Campo. And look who it is. It's Tony. He's back. Long time no see, Tony. Talk to us, mate. What's going on? Ole Gunnar Solskjær, he's gone. What's your thoughts? Over the moon? Happy?
I don't know. Like, it's a weird one. I'm happy he's gone, but obviously when the news comes out, like, it's a legend of the club. So, yeah, it's a tough one. I'm happy he's gone. I don't think he was the person to take us forward. I think we can all see that. But in saying that, it's sad that to some people this is going to tarnish his legacy at the club. Like myself, like, he did what he did as a player. I think he's put us in the right direction, but he was a bit out of his depth, and there's a lot worse going on than him being at the realm.
Who's your pick then to come in and replace him? We're hearing reports that maybe Poch. Camp, I don't know how happy you'd be about that one, or is it Zidane? I don't think Zidane's the one.
Can we get Ole in as interim, but not give him a contract? Like, the guy's unbelievable when he comes in.
We did well as interim manager, just don't give him the contract.
No, I don't know. I mean, obviously they're saying Carrick will take over. They're apparently not even looking for a manager until the end of the season. They're trying to look for an interim. So, to me, if that's what's happening, you're looking at that Poch, Rodgers, potentially the Ajax manager, but
what about
waiting?
Steve Bruce? Would you take Steve Bruce?
I mean, I'll take Bruce.
He's also United legend, isn't he?
I'll take Bruce to the end of the season. Get him in there. Can't do much worse than how we're playing at the moment.
Well, look, we're going to get into United a bit later when we talk about their result. That's what I'll say for now. But we'll start off with top of the table, Chelsea, 3-0, comfortable win for us. We scored them. That's really all there is to say. They didn't turn up for this game, especially at home. I would have thought they'd offer a lot more. Leicester against us are usually pretty decent, but from start to finish, we're absolutely on it. And yeah, good to see another 3 points on the board. Keeps us top of the table. What were your thoughts, Tony, on this one?
I swear these pricks have turned up one game all year, and it was when they played us and embarrassed us off the pitch. Like, honestly, every other team they've played against a big club, like we saw on the weekend, they've come in, they haven't played good football, they're nowhere up to the speed, and they get done. They come up against United, and you know what? I'm starting to think it might just be because we're in the mud. But they dominated us for like 75% of the game. So it's a bit worrying that Rodgers can't get him up. And this is why I'm probably not leaning towards Rodgers as coming in as manager. He doesn't seem to be able to get him up for every single big game. It's like, hey, you're playing at United, we'll get up. Next week we're playing Chelsea, we're getting dominated. Like, there's no consistency in that squad, and I mean, I can't really say much because we're not too far away from him on the ladder. But
Leicester are poor this year. They're sitting in 12th spot. I'm going to go out and say they miss out in Europe completely, just given the teams that are around them. So is that a very poor season for Leicester, or is it just a kind of a? How would you see that, Campo? What do you reckon? Because they've obviously been making strides towards European football consistently.
It's a step backwards. They've been trying to progress, and this is going to be a massive blow to attracting these players they want to attract. But Chelsea, honestly, they played phenomenal. They could have put 6-7 past Schmeichel that game, and I am surprised. The one person who can't shoot, N'Golo Kante, I don't even know how that went in. It looked like the most uncoached shot I've seen all season. And it just rippled the net. I couldn't believe it. But
you saw Tuchel's reaction to that. He was as shocked as anybody else seeing that go in. But Rudiger getting on the score sheet just shows that like our defenders are scoring for fun. I think that's our 13th goal from a defender this season. Like, that's more than some teams have scored in general. What were your thoughts, Morty?
Can we have one of those defenders?
You've got Maguire, mate. That's all you need.
No. We'll give you him.
Well, it just goes to show how much he had dominated the game, because Kante basically didn't leave the 18-yard box. The bloke was on a mission. I've never seen him so attacking in his life. Honestly, usually he's hovering around the back cleaning up, but he was just on a tear. Leicester, yeah, they're in the mud. They are possibly, for all the strides they've made going forward, they're going to take 5 steps back this season if they don't fix whatever's going on. They've started making some signings to bring in. I mean, obviously Tielemans didn't play this game. It was a big part of their squad, but where do they go from there, to be honest?
Yeah,
they sold the players.
They're still in Europe, obviously, Europa League. But if they miss out on again this year. And I can't say they're going to win Europa League this year. So if they don't have European football next year, they're going to struggle to attract these players that they had been getting for a couple of seasons. They're lucky they've got Tielemans because he's probably their best player right now. But I could see who's that new guy that came in at centre back that did his ACL this year, whatever his name is.
Fofana.
I can see him going pretty much straight away. Soyuncu, does he stay, or he's kind of fallen off himself a little bit anyway? So, yeah, I think you're all right where you say.
He's almost on the way out.
Yeah, exactly. So they're taking some backward steps here, and it's going. I think it'll be hard.
But is it because Leicester's overachieved the last couple of years that we're sitting here? Because they've been a top four.
I don't think they did overachieve. You can definitely say they overachieved when they won the league, obviously. But since then, I think they've just been progressively getting better.
Yeah, but they've also been progressively getting older. Like, we saw the same thing when Sir Alex left United. It was an aging squad. They performed for a year somewhat, but then they collapsed, and now we're still seeing a rebuild. And we've got the funds to pump $200 million a year into it. Leicester don't.
Yeah, but they did. They sold Kante. They sold Mahrez. They held on to Vardy. They had the play, and they started bringing him in. Like, they bring in Didi, and they bring Tielemans, and they bring some centre backs in. They bring in Pereira.
Name me a player that starts in Liverpool that they brought in the last 2 years.
What?
Name me a player that Leicester has signed that's going to start at a Liverpool or a Chelsea. There isn't. So they're not attracting those players where...
Tielemans.
You think Tielemans starts ahead of your players?
I think he starts in most teams.
I'd start him.
Definitely starts in
United. I'd start Fred.
Over Tielemans?
No. Yes, they overachieved, but look at the way they've come for the past 5 years. They're progressively from a point where they had, and they've gotten better, but it just looks like this season they've fallen off a cliff. Like, they don't even look other than United game, they haven't looked competitive once this season.
If they don't get European football, does Rodgers then go, yep, I'm going to United, if the offer's still there for him?
I think it's already done, to be honest. I got this bad feeling that it's already done.
If he's already done this.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a United fan, Tony, like you brought him up before, but do you want him? I don't think he's this amazing coach, but no, you'd rather a Zidane or a Poch.
Oh, I think if you're looking at Zidane, it's because of the name. I don't really want Zidane. If you're looking at who's out there, Poch is probably the most likely that you take because can you stop distracting me while I'm trying to talk down there? He's one of those coaches who he's done it with no budget, and yes, he's struggling at PSG, but I think a lot of managers would struggle with that much talent trying to put them all on the field. But
it's no different to United right now. Yes, the names aren't as big as that front three, but you've still got these big names that expect to be playing every week.
Yeah, but were they not playing for Ole? We don't know. We're going to have to find that out. Are they going to come out this week and play now? Like, Pogba's made it quite open that he wasn't a fan of Ole in those last couple of weeks. We saw Bruno go out there and defend him at the full-time whistle. He's put a post up taking blame, saying the players need to take the blame. So I'm loving that we're playing Chelsea this week because whenever there's a new manager or an interim come in, usually that team gets the results. So
and no Maguire. You're on form.
Yeah,
I heard Chelsea's trying to appeal that, but we'll see how it goes.
Campo, I just need your thoughts real quick. You're obviously head shaking a lot about whenever Poch is mentioned. You don't want him to go, or you don't think he'll go?
I don't want him to go. It'll break my heart.
But do you think he will go? Do you think, like, the reports coming in, it seems like it's a decent shout. Do you think it'll happen, or are you?
No. I think the scripts are written for Conte to be there for one more year at Spurs, and then Poch will take over.
Well, Poch will go back to Spurs, and Conte will go to United then at that point, will he?
Probably.
Well, we can't talk about United. We can't talk about United too much until we get into them a bit later. So we're going to talk about Newcastle and Brentford's 3-3 draw. Absolute cracker of a game, really. Newcastle still winless. What do you make of that one? Morty, what's your thoughts on Newcastle this season? And this should have been a must-win for them, I think.
Well, that is because they're now below Norwich, moving forward to the next result. But yeah, there's a tough job to be had at that club, and they looked positive. They still couldn't get it done though, and they're still on the ropes. And that to me looked like that 3-3 result was the best they're going to play.
Do you think that Eddie Howe's able to turn this around? Like you're saying, they're playing better now, and that's a start, but you need to start picking up points, and a point's not enough, I think, at this point. Like, is it a case of, like, get us to January, then he can start getting a few players in, or is it, what is it?
Go back to the championship, fuck financial play, and
Rebuild.
come along with it. Rebuild.
Tony, what do you reckon?
Oh, obviously, it's a lot different when you've got a manager on the sideline. Obviously, Eddie Howe was out due to COVID positive test. So, I mean, that's a big disruption going into your first game. So the players might have felt that. We don't know how much extra testing they had to go through before that game. Yeah, like it makes me happy when we lose if Newcastle lose and Leeds lose. So it was a bad week, but it was a good week. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting because you're going to get let's say a $200 million budget, but who's going to want to go to a relegation battle? Realistically, that's going to help them. Who's going to go there?
Yeah, well, absolutely. You mentioned like on the bottom of the table. What about Brentford? What do you make of them? They finally snapped their losing streak, but it's just a draw. They're hovering over the relegation line there. What do you reckon, Tony? You think they're all right, or?
I don't think they'll go down, but this is going to sound funny because I've taken the piss out of Norwich every single time I've had the chance, but they remind me of when Norwich came up last year. They were so enjoyable to watch, and then all of a sudden we look at the ladder and they're in a relegation battle. Like as much as they play good football, and Norwich when they came up, they pulled big results. They're only 4 points clear of the drop, and I thought they'd been playing brilliant until I saw the ladder. So it's dangerous, but I think they do enough to stay up.
Yeah, well, they started. I think that the reason they started so hot, that was it. Like they were sitting pretty to start with, and then results have come tumbling down. What do you reckon, Campo? What's this result? What do you think of this result, really?
The stupid game. Newcastle, the crowd was rocking. The players just can't lift. Fair play, they got back into the game after being 3-2 down. But that was just of pure brilliance from St. Maximin. Without him, I'd say they're 100% down. But the fact that he's at that club still, he could pretty much win a game by himself at times. I'll be interested to see how much of a difference Eddie Howe actually has at a game, not stuck in a hotel room or wherever he is, if he can actually make those defenders defend, because they're a bunch of idiots at the back there. They've got no idea what they're doing back there. Lascelles, useless. They're just crap. That's where they need to reinvest in summer. If they don't, they're going down.
Well, it worked for David Moyes in West Ham a couple of years ago, didn't it? That COVID, when he was sat on a Zoom call. So maybe.
I mean,
but
I'm going to pose a question quickly to you, Aaron. Obviously, Newcastle bottom of the league at the moment. Take away where they were. Is this poor defending and this poor game style because they're starting to stress out going, we need a win. So they're throwing everything to try and get that win, and they're lacking that defense. Like, I know it's still early days where, 26 rounds out from the end of the season, but nerves are surely kicking in now. There's pressure from the board. There's pressure from these new owners. I think they're trying too hard. Like, they've got good players. They can play decent football when they play good football. Like, is the fear set in? Has that I'm going down set in that they're starting to struggle?
Yeah, I think you're pretty much spot on there, really. There's panic defender. A couple of years ago, I looked at Fabian Schär and thought he could be going to a big club. Even Lascelles, he's had some good moments. And then, now you wouldn't even look at Fabian Schär and think he's bloody Premier League quality the way he's been letting goals in for fun. So I think it is, Tony, it's panic. They score, they concede straight away after to Ivan Toney of all people who, they let go for a cheap amount. And then they're the ones chasing the game again when they go down, and then they get back to square, and then again, they're chasing it again. So it's panic stations for them for sure. And I thought this was the game they were going to turn it around a little bit and start to get some momentum. But look, it's going to be a long season for them, and until January comes, and even if January comes, I still think they're not going to finish any higher than 15th. That's all I'll give them. So maybe just avoiding the drop at this point, but 15th is as best as I'll give them. What about Burnley, who's sitting just above them on the ladder as well? 3-3 with Palace, another absolute cracker of a game. So that's 2 3-3 in a row. Tony, what were your thoughts on this one?
When did Burnley learn how to attack? That's the biggest turning point here. They're scoring.
Maxwell Cornet signed for him. He's basically the only person who attacks.
They're scoring goals, and it's not what we're used to. It's used to Burnley gets the ball, they pump it long, we somehow score a goal, we park the bus. Like, they're playing, I'm not going to say decent football, but they're playing better football than what we've expected. And I don't even want them to go down. If you ask me at the start of the season, I wanted Burnley gone because they play shit football. I'm starting to enjoy watching them. And it might be because my team loses every week, but I'm starting to enjoy watching Burnley a bit more.
Surely if they go down, Cornet's on the first flight out, though. He has been unbelievable for them. I think I would take him at Chelsea. Probably wouldn't start, but I think anybody in here would probably take him in their squad. He's been phenomenal.
I'll take
he's scoring
anything
goals
that's
for
playing
fun.
good at the moment. I'll take anyone who's playing good football.
But if you're playing that kind of football at Burnley, it's just you're obviously better than Burnley. What are your thoughts, Campo? You love Burnley?
Another stupid game. When a defense is making Benteke look like prime Benzema, you got issues back there. It's just back and forth. There's watching the highlights because I'm not watching this shit. It's just back and forth, goal after goal. I'm like, what is this scoreline going to finish at? And at the end, it was a fair result. Both teams created a lot of chances each. And you know what? Fuck Palace.
Why couldn't it be prime Benteke? Why did he have to be prime Benzema?
Well, Benteke's never been prime, so...
he's had his fair run. We'll call it prime 3-week Benteke when he has those little spurts.
All right, prime 3-week Benteke.
What are your thoughts, Morty, on this result?
Burnley is still freaking shit. They scored 2 headers and looked like they were dead in the mud the whole game. Cornet just pulls off his wonder strike because he's the only saving grace of that club. Whereas Palace, on the other hand, look like they're playing productive football. Conor Gallagher is just, mate, I wouldn't be surprised. Chelsea just come back a bit early, please. If something happens to he is proper, almost straight into your squad next season if he's back. I'll put it up. He is pushing towards that level of Foden, kind of coming through the ranks because I'm very impressed with him.
Yeah, he's unreal. Be interesting to see how we do somehow fit him into our squad next year, but I'm sure there's
We've already got 9 attacking mids. I'm sure there's 10 you can fit in the squad. So,
but the problem is some of these players who you thought were forgotten about, like your Ruben Loftus-Cheeks after a bad injury and a few crappy loan spells, and your Ross Barkley, and they're suddenly getting minutes again and playing well. So it bloody places up for grabs in that Chelsea midfield. So. All right, let's talk about Stevie G, Morty, and his debut win for Villa. We'll start with you then. What are your thoughts? He kept a clean sheet for him. He won them their first points in a while. What's your thoughts?
He must have just beaten Tyrone Mings' head in the back room and just
he scored.
You don't do something. He's going exactly. He scored, kept a clean sheet. He hasn't done that in 2 years. So, look, yeah. Take it what you will. First game, come up. Pretty much every Premier League club ends up with a win with a sacked manager coming off that. So we will see. But they did look like they were trying some different things. I wouldn't say Stevie's had his imprint on the game yet because they kind of just went out there trying to impress him. Not really much with a game plan. And Brighton, just another expected goal opportunity. Didn't convert, and here we are. Stevie G, 100% record in the Prem.
Well, you look at Rangers lost on the weekend as well, so they're obviously feeling Gerrard. He's missing there, obviously. But what do you reckon, Campo? What are your thoughts on this game? Ollie Watkins scoring, Tyrone Mings somehow.
Emi Martinez also pulled off some amazing saves that game to keep that clean sheet, and I think he deserves, to go to a bigger club. No offense to Villa, but Martinez is just head and shoulders their best player. He wins them points every week pretty much when he's on fire. There's probably some aging keepers out there like Lloris. I'll take him any day of the week.
You said to a bigger club.
Exactly.
There's no way he's gone from Arsenal previously, spending 11 years there, to Spurs.
Crazy things have happened, but
like Pochettino United.
Exactly. But again, Watkins. It's good to see Watkins score again because he loves that club. You saw the passion come out when he scored. It was just good to see them. Villa actually get a win on the board.
It was absolutely much needed because they were again hovering over that relegation battle. They were winless in however many, so that was much needed. What do you reckon, Tony? Great result for them.
Yeah, Gerrard's a cat running away from Big Ange. He knew Postecoglou was coming for him, so he ditched it and went to the Premier League. He's like, I don't want it. Nah, obviously, good result. Like Morty said, he's probably hasn't had enough time to kind of put his imprint on that team, but they sure looked a whole lot better than what they have been. So if that's what they're doing to impress him, we saw what he did over in Scotland. If he can bring even 3/4 of how he was coaching them over there, I think Villa fans are about to get excited because I think there's going to be some good football played over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. Tony, we're going to stay with you because you know what result's coming up. It's the... What do you even call this? You can see on the screen, it's 4-1. Watford over United. I don't know what to say. I'm speechless. I had this down as a United win. Yeah, Tony, take us away, mate. What are your thoughts?
Pretty much. It's just like it's Ole fell and he soared. Like we saw what happened when Van der Beek came on. We looked more lively. He got us back in the game, but then you've got old mate Fred. You got old mate McTominay. I know Fred wasn't part of this game 100%, but McTominay, Matic, like all these players that we're chucking in this midfield. But every time Donny's on the pitch, he looks brilliant. So I guess it's a bitter one to take, but I think it put us in a good direction, I guess you could say. Like Ole had to get out. I think this saves his reputation a bit at United. Fucking slabhead at the back. Goes and gets red carded, then he'd get pictured clubbing later that night.
Yep.
So to me, like, I'd be happy if I never see him in a United shirt again. Like, not the red card, you know what, whatever, it was a bad touch. But to then go clubbing, like, you've got a red card, which arguably cost us those last 2 goals. You go clubbing after your manager's now in the press for potentially getting sacked, and you've got other players defending your coach while you're probably thinking about what drink you're going to have when you go out. Like, it shambles from the grounds up, from the owners down, from the Glazers down. But I don't know. I think Bruno showed that he deserves to be captain. I've never been a big fan of him being captain, but for him to walk over and told the fans to kind of leave Ole alone, this is on us too, I think that shows ownership. And if you show that kind of ownership, then that's when results start to turn. But
yeah, I think you're right. Like, I don't think it looks good on Maguire's behalf. He's had a whirlwind few weeks. He's obviously been slapped up around the parks in Premier League, goes and scores a couple goals against some minnow nations, and then comes back and gets us sent off. You know, not the greatest time for him, but I think you're spot on there with Bruno. I think he shows leadership qualities where Maguire just doesn't. Tony, I want to ask, if United won this game, would Ole still be in charge today? Or do you think it was...
The board's gutless. The owners are gutless. That was... I think if he won this game and then say he goes on, I don't even know who we're playing. I feel, is it
Chelsea?
we're playing? No, we've got someone in the Champions League.
Villarreal.
Champions League game coming up.
Villarreal. Yeah, Villarreal.
So we come out and we probably lose or draw with Villarreal because we always do. We somehow always struggle against them. But I don't know. Like, apparently it was a 5-hour crisis meeting. So for me, for that, it means the results happened. They've jumped in and said, okay, we need to do something now. Flip that. What worries me, we look at Villa, sacked their manager, brought in a coach straight away. Done. They got a win. Norwich, same thing, got a win. Newcastle, same thing, got a coach. Like, why is someone, I get there's not a lot of coaches out there, but why is the caliber of Manchester United going, all right, Carrick, you take over for a couple of weeks, we'll get an interim. Like, what good coach is going to sign a contract knowing that they're not going to have a contract at the end of the year?
Well, it's crazy because Man United is still one of the biggest clubs in the world. Managers should be lining up to want to, be at this club, and yet they're all turning you down, and nobody wants that job. It seems like a train wreck. But again, you've got a bloody great squad. All you really need is that centre defensive mid, and maybe Ben Maguire, because I don't think he's good enough at this point. He's just made too many errors. But yeah, I don't know who you're going to get in. Obviously, see in the next few weeks who you line up. But you're right there. Like, most of these clubs did have replacements at the ready. And yeah, to go and, yes, Carrick's going to come in and probably do an okay job. But do United just all of a sudden do the Ole situation and give him the bloody contract if he puts together a few results? Like,
and that's obviously, I hope they learn from their lesson. But in saying that, like I said, I have zero faith in the owners making a decision. There was a comment a few weeks ago that said, did I even know that we lost 5-0 to Liverpool when that happened? Like, it sounds stupid, but the fact that he had a job then we go and get dominated by City. He still has a job. Like, I think I said I was Ole in for how long, and straight away I went, okay, like it needs to go. He needs to go now. He needs to move on. But it took them 2 weeks. We lost Conte. Don't know if Conte. I'm going to say I don't know if Conte would have worked at United, but it would have been a lot better to have a world-class manager. And now we have Fletcher.
Look, usually as you said earlier, when a manager comes in, they usually win their next game, their first game in charge. However, it'll probably bite me for this, but I think defensively we're way too good. I think your United team they're in shambles, and I think we'll comfortably cruise past you. That'll probably bite me in the back for sure, because it literally always happens. But I think that United just something needs to change here. It's not just Ole's fault. I think. Isn't it funny though?
Hey, Donny van de Beek's going to score against you, right? He's going to start and score. You know that.
He might. Look, it was funny that he was the one that scored the final goal in Ole's team, I suppose, put the nail in the coffin for him. What are your thoughts, Morty, on the result? Because we're going to get back to the result at hand, clearly.
Shut up, Morty.
Look, honestly, credit to Watford. They came out positive, be it what you will of how United have been playing, to come up, against United at home and play like they did. Credit to them. Like, they played positive football, and the 4-1 probably flatters it a bit because of the red card and whatever, but they scored two goals in the last, what was it, 10, 15 minutes, I think it was.
2 goals in the last 5 minutes.
95 minutes, yeah. But they were out there. They wanted that win. They under Ranieri now. They don't care who looks in front of them. They're playing their style. They're going ahead. The Howe saved 2 pens. Still concedes 4, but it's quite hilarious.
Shut up, Morty.
That. But yeah, obviously, Maguire. Does he have anything upstairs? Like, honestly, did the ball hit him too hard on the head during the international break, or because that man, he's stealing a contract, he's stealing a living at United, and he wants to go out and just, And then did you just see his tweet after Ole got?
Is there other games to talk about? Like, honestly,
we've got plenty, but we've got to give United the spotlight for a bit, Tony. Especially because you haven't obviously been here for a couple of weeks, so we need your thoughts, mate. We've got to talk.
I think the last time I was on was the last game we won, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I said unfortunately you've had a couple of crap results recently.
If Maguire was so happy with Ole, can they just ship him out the door with him? Because honestly, he's like playing for the other team when you put him out the pitch this season. He's been shot. But you're in enough pain. I'll leave it be.
All right. Well, Campo, which way are you going to go? Are you going to give Watford some praise, or are you going to heap it on United? Because look, like Morty said, Ranieri's coming. He's been good. He's going to lose a few games, obviously, is Watford, but he's going to win a few games. Yeah, they're going to be safe.
Well, me and Morty both said Watford would win this. I said the players aren't going to turn up for Ole. They don't want him there. And it was evident in that game. It showed. Fair play to Watford, took all their chances as they came. It could have been 5-1, 6-1. But, if it wasn't for De Gea again.
I agree.
Just go to the next game.
All right, well, we'll save Tony the embarrassment for a bit longer. Wolves 1-0 over West Ham. This was a surprising one, I think. I had West Ham for a comfortable win here. Can't remember if anybody tipped a Wolves win. I think one of you has tipped it. Can't remember who.
I called it just out of spite.
Yeah, so we'll start with you then. What were your thoughts on the game? Decent result for Wolves here. Slip up for West Ham slightly.
Well, I'm not going to say I predicted it out of true faith, but my bullshits of spite after our loss has come true. They kind of looked a little bit flat after the international break, and Wolves just look on it. They look ready to go, and they took their chance. They didn't have that many chances this game. I think West Ham still kind of played them off they looked at about 70%, still looked a better team, but Wolves, credit to them, took their chance, put it away, and Jimenez back scoring most weeks, so fair play to him.
But is this a big issue for West Ham, this result, or is it just a little bit of a slip up? What do you reckon, Tony?
I'm going to go out and make a call, and I'm going to say they're in trouble. I don't know what game Morty was watching, because the game I watched, Wolves dominated. They had double the shots. They held possession. Like, I mean, maybe I haven't looked at the stats, but I think this is a crash back down to earth for West Ham. And I mean, I know they've got Europe where they're playing. I think it's that whatever that rapid wing, whatever it is that team is called. But then they have Manchester City, and they could lose. Well, I think they're going to lose to Manchester City, and then they have a Brighton who we know can play good football. So I reckon this could be a slide down for West Ham, if I'm being honest.
Well, regardless if they lose to City, they'll stay in fourth because of Arsenal's disgustingly bad goal difference. What do you reckon, Camp? I know is that your dog going mad in the background?
Pain in the ass. I hope it's it's them crashing back down to earth, but I have a feeling it's just a slip in form. They're a good team this year, but Wolves, me and Tony have said it. They play good football. They play attractive, attacking football, and no one was surprised to see this result because of how well Wolves can play. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I think this result was one of those ones where we said like some teams do slip up after the international break, and I think West Ham were unfortunate the ones to do that. But Wolves are on the up; they're into sixth now, so they're creeping as well. So got their season on track. But what about this result, lads? Oh wait, no, sorry, get back to that. This one, Norwich's win over Southampton. Look, Norwich are off the bottom of the ladder, lads. 1 win ago, we were saying that they're going to rack up the lowest points tally in history, and now they only need 3 points to equal that. Can they do it? Can they make the great escape? What do you reckon, Tony? Are they going to escape relegation or?
Nah, fucking, they're still getting. They're not going to win another game. They're staying. They're going to get 9 points. That's it. They're done. Screw them. Nah, I mean, honestly, they're playing good football. They got a new manager, Dean Smith. We saw what he can do with Villa, and I mean, is that 2 on the trot now for Norwich? I haven't been on here for a while. I haven't been keeping up too much. Is that 2 on the trot now?
That's 2 wins in a row, mate. So maybe it's a turn of fortune. Who knows?
I mean, hey, if it means that Leeds and Newcastle go down, I'm all for Norwich surviving. I'm all for them proving me wrong. You could probably clip about 30 minutes of the times I said they're useless and offer nothing in attack, defense, and the midfield. But hey, they're playing better football. They're getting results, and I'm sure Campo loved this because now he doesn't have to give Southampton credit. But again, this is another game where Southampton dominated and dropped 3 points. So that is a worry.
You almost don't want to be that team that loses to Norwich, hey? Because that's always.
When do we play him? When do we play him? I'll let you know when we're going to lose.
If you lose them, oh my god! But like Southampton are now on the list of teams that they've lost to. It got off to a good start for Southampton. 4 minutes in, Che Adams scoring. He's starting to get a bit of a goal run at that club. He started very poorly, but then 7 minutes later, Pookie. I know Morty loves Pookie; it's his favourite player. And then they left it late, but 79 minutes in, bloody Grant Hanley scores the winner. What do you reckon, Campo? What's this result mean for Southampton, who were on a good run of form for a little bit, and what's it mean for Norwich? Can they escape relegation?
I think it's Southampton for relegation now and Norwich for survival. I've said it how many weeks now. Southampton can have all the chances they want in the world, but their strikers are shit. They have no clinical strikers.
All right, Harry Kane, calm down.
No, but seriously, who do they have that's going to score consistently?
Che Adams.
But then
not enough, but he's scoring.
1 goal, but they have 15 shots a game. They have to be scoring more than once. It's not good enough for a Southampton point of view, but full credit to Norwich. I don't have to give any credit to Southampton. I think Dean Smith is going to be their saviour. I think they'll just scrape it out, maybe.
Morty, what are your thoughts on Norwich? Can they do it?
No, they can't do it. They'll pick up some minor results along the way, but I think they'll end up. They might not be last now. They might be 19th. I'll give them
positive.
That.
They're on the up.
But you say, Che Adams picking up a bit of form. The bloke didn't score for 28 weeks. Him scoring isn't. It's just he was that shit that the bar has just been moved to the very minimum. He's pathetic.
Morty, Norwich finished 19th. Who's 20th?
Yeah.
Oh, Newcastle.
They're
doing it on purpose, mate.
Oh, God. All right. Well, the game that I wanted to get into before, it's Liverpool 4 over Arsenal 0. Morty, straight back to you. Thoughts on the game? Just way too good for us. I think it just shows that Arsenal's results were against average opponents. They come up against someone good and they get smashed.
I predicted a few things right this week after my spite. Arsenal, they look like they just fell apart. Like the bit of pressure on their back line and they were throwing balls left, right, and centre. We could have honestly finished 8-0. Like Salah had his chances. Mane was on a tear. Arteta and Klopp were ready to kill each other on the sideline. Yeah, I swear Klopp just does it to wind them up. He loves it. He loves the confrontation. He just winds them up. But who was their left back? Tavares. I think. He looked so out of his depth there. He was. As soon as he got the ball, there was 2 on him. He was putting passes left, right. He passed to Jota in the 18-yard box. Like,
great assist.
when in doubt, kick it out. Like it's under 8 sort of stuff, and he was still trying to do the thing. And I know that's Arteta's way of playing, but it's a worry for Arsenal because yes, they can do it against the other clubs. They can get up for it, but if they can't even show up, like they didn't show up this game, really. They barely had a shot on target. If they can't even show up to these games, then where do they go from there?
Well, it's perfect bounce back for Liverpool coming off your loss, so what keeps you in the mix there? Arsenal, they're in 5th. They're not doing bad. Obviously, they've had a good run of form, but like you said, and I've said, like their results, they were all against very average opponents. They haven't beat anybody in that top 4, top 5. I don't think. What were your thoughts, Campo, on this one?
My thoughts were this just showed the class between the top 3 in the Prem and everyone else. It's such a gulf in class. It's ridiculous. I predicted this score 4-0. I knew Arsenal are absolute trash. I think the quality of Premier League this season has just been average from everyone else. It's just been a weird season, I think. You got the 3 front runners and then everyone else is just slugging it out for 10th to 5th.
Best of the rest.
Yeah, it's just a weird season, this one. But it's just evident how clear that Liverpool, City and Chelsea are to everyone else.
Tony, you agree with that?
Like, I can't even talk bad about Arsenal because we lost 5-0 and it was at our home ground. So, obviously, Liverpool's a great team. Klopp's a great manager. I don't think it's too much of a stress for Arsenal. Okay. I don't think it's too much of a stress for Arsenal because I don't think their ambitions are we're going to win the league. I think as a team that's aiming for that top 4, like Campo said, you've got those front runners. You've got Chelsea, City, Liverpool. They are aiming to be the best of the rest. And I think one result like this, they're not going to stress too much about it. Arteta's got them playing good football. We've seen it the last couple of weeks. And put the result behind you and keep going, lads. We can play good football.
Was that Morty's dog walking out of the room once he heard Arsenal were mentioned? He's sick of the
he's having a whinge.
All right, well, we're going to move on to...
Is that all I have to do to get out of this podcast? I'll do it now.
Bring the dog in the room. We're going to move into one of the teams that you're heaping a bunch of praise on. Manchester City, comfortable result. 3-0 over Everton. Just too classy. What do you reckon, Campo?
Oh, the goals in this game were ridiculous. That pass from Cancelo, that was just sex on football. And
like class on grass, mate.
And that Rodri rocket, that was just pure fire. I can watch those goals on repeat. But Everton, 1 shot on target, 4 shots all game, not good enough for their standards. City just cruising. It was just a training performance for them.
Do you reckon if we clip that and we get the audio, we can have that as our intro? Like sex on football tragic.
Is this 2 years in a row? Everton started the season pretty hot and then they've just gone to absolute crap? Morty, you'd know, surely.
They haven't even started as well as they did last year. They're just shit.
No, we're okay for a couple of weeks, maybe 4.
They're still missing DCL, aren't they?
That's Everton though. But it doesn't matter if they throw him back in. They still didn't create a chance for him to score. Like they barely got out of their half. They honestly, for a good period of that game, were just sitting in the 18-yard box. That Palmer, he's just as I said with Foden coming through, Palmer, and then who's the other one that came on? McAtee. Mate, the bloke was doing Rabonas and fucking. He's trying to loft and do all sorts of stuff. Like, this kid's taking the piss. He's probably 18, and to come in to do that in the Premier League against, it's Everton, it takes some balls, and fair play to him. He almost scored too, but man, City is looking like a dangerous team if they don't have to spend money anymore. They've got it all coming through the ranks.
Well, with this result, Tony, I want to ask you and Campo, because I know Morty's going to say Liverpool, and I would say Chelsea. But is City the favourite for the title still?
I've said Chelsea for a few weeks now. I think City are going to push it a whole way, but they've got their eye on that Champions League. Chelsea's got that Champions League. That's what City are going to focus on, and I think that's what's going to give Chelsea the advantage.
I'm just making sure Campo heard that one because he's got none of that shit.
The bloke doesn't even have a trophy. Leave him alone. He's got an empty cabinet.
Audi Cup, baby.
He's got the We Got Conte trophy. Just give that to him. All right?
I think City. I think City are the favourites because you saw when they came up against Chelsea, they battered them. It's just if they could keep that consistency against the teams they should be beating.
Yeah, they battered them once. Chelsea battered them 3 times last year. Like, it's a one-off game. Like,
but Tuchel comes back out with that.
City also lost to West Ham in the cup, and they lost in the league. That City still have these games where they slip with their stuff. Like, but I don't see them.
We always see you say that, and then City go on this stupid run where they don't lose after 20 games, and they're 20 points clear by the end of the season.
Well, I don't think it's going to be that situation. I think it's going to be less than 5 points between first, second, and even third possibly this year.
I want to give someone credit in this team. Silva is a baller. He has been in some unbelievable form. And I'm going to say I saw it coming because I picked him up in draft when no one else did. He's been a baller.
To think that they basically said you can leave, and now he's their best player.
Well, De Bruyne's got COVID, doesn't he? He's out for a while. I'm pretty sure he tested positive. So, he was told he can go, and now he's their midfield. He is their midfield.
Well, he was told he can go when they brought in Jack Grealish, and Grealish hasn't been too crash hot. So is that a waste of money? Do they still regret getting Kane?
I think this is going to sound weird because he's got a few assists, he's got his goals, but if you go dollar per performance, Grealish has been the worst signing in the Premier League this year. If you put that price tag in and take that into account.
Sorry, Sancho hasn't even got a stat on the board.
He's played 7 games. He's done. He might not be scoring goals, but if you look when he's on the pitch, we look a whole lot better.
Grealish.
What's Grealish on the pitch that what an 18-year-old hasn't done?
It doesn't matter. You could say the same thing for player. United still have the quality. There you go. That you're putting a lot of those players in over City players too. It's just
Sancho was a little bit cheaper, wasn't he? Sancho was cheaper than Jack Grealish.
Who are you putting in over a City player from United?
Ronaldo.
I don't even want Ronaldo in our starting lineup. I prefer Greenwood up there right now.
Bernardo. Yeah.
Bernardo plays for City.
Yeah. Are you all right, Morty?
Think of the other one. The other Portuguese.
Turn the light back on, man. Turn the light back on.
All right, we're all losing our minds. So we're going to have to get into the final result because we've been giving Campo a little bit of hate recently. So Campo, 2-1. You're on the board, mate. Win's a win. What are your thoughts, mate? Over Leeds as well.
It's just that no ketchup and no mayonnaise packets allowed. Starting to pay off. It was a game of 2 halves. That first half was the worst half of football I've seen in my life. And to turn it up that second half, it was good to see finally. Give me something to, scream at 3:30 in the morning, wake up, my partner, wake up the household. It was good to get that emotion back. Good to see Conte with that passion that he brings to every club he goes to. You just can't hate him.
Campo, I've never had a pregnant missus, but you need to not piss her off at this stage, all right? Just let her sleep. Don't piss her off.
Well, when Reguilon's scoring goals, I'm cheering.
Yeah, well, look, that first half, like you said, it was not great. Dan James scoring. That was a great goal by him, actually. Like the run he made was pretty rapid. I think United could probably use him right about now.
Oh, fuck off. Leave me alone.
Sorry, mate. Pigs all around. Pigs all around. But look, it's a good win for you. Like you said, Conte brings that passion, and that just it's what you need to turn a club around. You need just like that passion to come in. What do you reckon, Morty? What were your thoughts on this game? Leeds they're not looking great, just above that relegation zone.
As Kepo said, it was a tale of two halves. I think Tottenham kind of frauded their way to this result. They were, and not even just a half. For a good 65 minutes of this game, they were on the ropes. And let's not pass over the fact that $100 million striker himself still hasn't scored. I guess Kane. He got one. I forget forgetting he's got one goal. All right, sorry.
One, but still.
Like usually, I saw the stat. Whatever. I think last year, Son and Kane between them had it was 24 goals and assists by this point.
He's got 17 goals this year.
Has he got 17 goals this year? All comps, and considering the ones he played against the school children from San Marino.
If Fred went and played in the freaking Conference League, he'd have 26 goals by now. There's nothing to be proud of.
Has he literally scored a goal?
You play 100 goals.
Has he scored a goal against a professional footballer, or just these semi-part-timer guys?
Well, if you count Newcastle,
the Maltese concreters.
I'm not counting Newcastle either.
Okay, then it's just semi-professionals.
San Marino, they're not even full-time footballers. They're free contractors half the time.
Hey, you know what? You got to do what you got to do. Maguire loves it.
Nah, look, I'm not taking the piss or anything, but yeah, he had his chance again, and he hit the post. He's still looking rocky. He's still looking. I don't know. Conte's going to have some.
Van de Beek's played 2 minutes for this year, I think, and he's got the same amount of goals in the Premier League as Kane. Let's sell him for 100 million. We'll make a quick buck.
All jokes aside, Conte can get the boys up, but what I think your club's done to Kane, holding him at ransom, but previous to all this, still, really, it probably isn't going to sit well with him from what he's done for the club in the past. Just, I don't think Conte coming in and having a chat to him is going to change it. So I think it's still a bit of a worry there.
Campo, how relieved were you to see Rafinha not take part in this game?
I'm very. If he took part, I was just hoping Emerson Royale two-footed him. Just take one for the team, get him out of the game. But Jack Harrison had a really good game too. To be fair to him, him and Dan James, played their skin off. But I'll take the 3 points, and we have an easy run coming up. So I'll take that to the bank.
Right, Tony, we're going to finish with you. I know you've not had a lot to smile about. You can smile about the fact that Leeds lost. So give us your rundown before we wrap it up.
That's all I'm going to leave it at. It's the one glimpse of happiness in a weekend that's Leeds take a loss and are sitting in. Are they in relegation? Just out of relegation?
2 points above.
Just out.
They're close enough to relegation that I can smile until we lose or until we beat Chelsea. And then I'll smile again, all right? How about that?
Well, we're going to have to get into that game in a couple of days' time. So we'll see you then. Thanks for joining me, lads.
Peace.
Catches.